You're welcome to Love the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your number one African Caribbean online radio. My name is DJ TYB, the place to be. It's another Saturday. Beautiful weather out there. Plus 10 degrees Celsius. I started the day plus, 2 degrees. Right now it's plus 10 degrees Celsius out there. And in Toronto, it's so beautiful. But hey, folks, we don't have to get deceived with the beautiful weather out there. It's cold. But having said that, if you meet any other Canadian, if Canadians meet, the first thing that they ask themselves is, hey, bro, how's the weather at your place over there?
Today is absolutely spectacular. We're almost sitting at 20 degrees today on Vancouver Island. Absolutely gorgeous, not a cloud in the sky today. So it's the first day that really feels like, hey, spring is here and summer's on its way. So we have a beautiful one here on the northern end of Vancouver Island. Absolutely gorgeous. It's just, what can you say? It's beautiful today. So getting the old camper ready to go camping and doing all that kind of stuff that we do on the West Coast, So, yeah, beautiful day today. How are you doing?
Not bad. It's been a very great week. So many, summer is around the corner. Mm-hmm. And spring has sprung, and so a lot of people are getting ready for the summer, and so we hope that this summer, would it be the third summer that we are free from COVID, where we're all, when we're all convicts. Now we are ex-convicts celebrating the third anniversary of our release from the prison of COVID. Yeah, having said that. Right now, the music industry, like right now, folks out there, those of you listening to us on live the Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, and those of you watching us, today we are going to be giving credence. We are going to be discussing a range of topics as it relates to the music industry. So we will be doing just that. So if you are watching us on Facebook, LinkedIn, well, StreamYard and YouTube, you know what you do. Share the station with your friends. Join in on the conversation and, like it and share the station. Subscribe to it so that anytime we come around here, some great artists, for some great discussions that we're going to be doing today, you'll be up and running with us without any sort of problems. What's on your mind, Ron, in terms of the industry?
Well, it's interesting. I got a message first thing this morning when I woke up. It was interesting. It was from a fellow Nigerian who I do some work with, a bunch of work with. His post today was that WizKid is basically dropping the Afrobeat and going with whatever his next album is going to be. It's sort of following in the steps of what Burna Boy is doing. And that to me woke me up, and I thought, my goodness, what does this all mean? What's happening here, and why is he doing this? And so that became a discussion between him and I this morning, and he gave me all kinds of thoughts on that because I asked him, what do you think about all this? And one of his interesting points was the only time that WizKid has won anything in terms of a Grammy, not that Grammys tell the end-alls of end-alls. However, the only time he's ever won is when he did a recording with Beyonce. So I'm interested in knowing what this means for him and why. That would be the big question. Why?
Yes, when I saw the stuff you sent me, I was shocked myself. And the whole thing is that, you see, it's a betrayal of the genre that brought them to limelight. Mm-hmm. And you see, as an artist, going through music history, if you come to look at it, there were so many artists out there who thought they could do it on their own by crossing the line. But I will ask myself and the listeners out there, Burna Boy, if he changes, if Whiskey changes to a different genre, whatever they want to do, it was Afro beats that brought them to limelight. And the question is, where would Burna Boy be without the Afro beats? That's why I'm saying it's a betrayal, a big one, because I saw the signs. I saw so many signs out there that made me think that Burna Boy, when he came out with the track On Top of the World, to me personally, it was nothing other than music. I didn't see Burna Boy in it. So it told me that that was the time that he was trying to move away from the hand that fed him. You cannot bite the hands that feed you. So if they want to abandon it and go into to come and create something different, that's fine. But you know what? At the end of the day, they will be remembered that they were the artists who betrayed the genre that produced them. Because I don't think it's pretty. Because when I heard the On Top of the World album, I spoke with a couple of DJs from Nigeria. They were furious. They were really furious as to what actually is happening. And a couple of them told me they were not going to play it and stuff like that. But then I said, well, if they want to do what they want to do, just leave them. But at the end of the day, Afrobeats is going to be there after they've left the stage, because Fela, Ransom, and Nicola Pokuti started the Afrobeat movement. Today he's gone. His name is still there. So Afrobeat generated out of the Afrobeat without the S. So you cannot shy away from it. I'm very disappointed with respect to what is actually going on. Petra, I believe you've heard what we were trying to put out there. Any observation, comment, or?
Yeah, most definitely. Because hi, lovely family. You got Petra. Hi, Ron. Hi, TYB.
Hi, ma'am. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm fine, sir. Good to see you, sir. For sure. So when it comes to this topic in relation to Wizkid leaving Afrobeat, I have a bit of a controversial argument. You know what I mean? I could definitely agree with what you're saying, and I will definitely touch on that side. But from the perspective of an artist, I know that an artist doesn't like to be boxed. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really hard, because it's like when you are an artist and you come out with a style, that's your style, and people know you for that style. They fall in love with you and they fall in love with that style. But then it's like, over time, just like people, artists also evolve. You know what I mean? So then who are we, the fans, or anybody, to tell any artist or anyone what they can and can't do? You know what I mean? Like, who are we to stifle Wizkid's growth? Who knows that if he goes in another genre, he may do even better. You know what I mean? So I look at it from that perspective, and we're all artists, so we know the same thing. We don't want our creativity to be put in a box. So in that sense, I wish him well in that regard. From the other perspective, I know that everybody's looking to Wizkid because he was one of the pioneers that opened the door to Afrobeats. I mean, I remember when Drake came out, signed OVO, and then he signed Popcorn, and wow, that was huge. You know what I mean? Then he signed Wizkid. Nobody really knew who Wizkid was, and then we watched him get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to now he's like a global phenomenon. You know what I mean? So it's like, we want to keep that legacy. We want to keep him there. We want to keep him like a fella, how fella was in his craft, and that's what he lived. But he's not a fella, and I think in his regard, it's like he's already reached as high and as far as he can go in Afrobeat, and he's still so young. So then in his mind, it's like, okay, I have to try something else because I've already done this to its capacity. So That's
In that particular case, I would say that every misfortune is a blessing for the clogged Afrobeats musical scene, because there's a lot of great musicians out there, and I understand where you're coming from, but then at the same time too, it has come as a surprise. To me personally, it's a shock. That's why I'm saying that, because we all know Burna Boy is Burna Boy when it comes to Afrobeats music. And now, if you come to hear tomorrow that Burna Boy is playing twist, or he's playing, doing something different, as a fan, I really like the guy.
yeah,
It
for
should come
sure.
as a surprise to you, because the thing is that we don't know where you're going to take the music to. And another question that I will ask myself will be: so if they move, does it create a new genre of music that is going to draw a lot of people from the Afrobeat revolution, because they are pioneers, if I can put it that way? Are they going to? I don't know how the future holds, but I think Afrobeat is there. It will never go away, because there are so many great untapped artists there. I don't even know
Exactly.
how they do it. So
Ex- exactly. I don't mean to cut you. I want to just jump into, like, you make a good point, and I think that's why, in a sense, that I think it's okay to let a Burna Boy and a Wizkid go on, because there's so much talent in Afrobeat. How are they ever going to get a chance? How are any other artists in the genre ever going to rise up if a Burna Boy and a Wizkid and, like a Thames, whoever, are always holding that spot, because they make it seem as though, like, only a certain amount of artists can get to that point. We saw that with Billboard. They chose between reggae and Afrobeat. They said that, oh, there's not enough space for both. So we are still subconsciously aware of that. So that's why I feel like, okay, I understand the shock for sure. I am shocked too, because that's what I know them in, and I love Wizkid's got wonderful music. Same with Burna Boy, but from an artist perspective, I understand and respect why, and I think it will give an opportunity for more amazing talent to rise to the surface.
Yeah, Petra, I can agree with you, because as an artist, I would say the same thing. I would really not like to be labeled under one category, saying that he does this or he does this only. To me, I think it shows a little bit of, should I say, a little bit of gutsiness on his
Yeah,
behalf
I was gonna say
to
yes.
get out there and say, I want to try something different. And
Mm-hmm.
that to me is okay. Let him go out and do that, because, like you said, there are probably hundreds of thousands and thousands of artists, Afrobeat artists, looking for that, in the door, signing or whatever it is that gets them in, that they're not getting the opportunity because the Wizkids, the Burna Boys, the Air Stars, all those are all sitting on top, keeping the market. So to me, I think, okay, sure, let them out. That sounds like a strange way of putting it. Let them out and let them do something else. Why not? I mean, I know that I have about 3 genres personally that I write. However, what I write, I've written country songs, I've written jazz songs, I've written all kinds of different material. The question, I'd say to him, or what I'd say, kudos to him. Why not?
Yeah.
And if the people of Nigeria don't like that, I'd say, what happens if he becomes just a huge, booming success? Would you be ashamed of him then? I would hope not. It's and where I often put this at, and I compare this, and I don't want to take too much time here, however, is with the group ABBA. ABBA was one of those groups that said, okay, Sweden's my home country, but we're not going to sing anything in Swedish. They sung everything in English. So we said basically to their country, you know what? Sorry, folks, we're going to try and hit this 3 billion market, so to speak, the people that listen to and understand.
Exactly.
So let's go out and do everything in English. And is Sweden proud of them? Oh, I can't speak on every person who's from Sweden, but absolutely, they were such a huge smash group. And they did something different from what their country probably was wondering. How come they're not in Swedish? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Maybe they supported them the whole way. But I think support them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, folks, we are in conversation with our trends in music. Right now, we're discussing the the departure of Whiskey and Burna Boy going to do their own thing. But you know what? Like I said, it came as a surprise to me, and I'm still in shock, and I don't know how the sound is going to be. Is it going to be um, a fusion between Afro beats, what they know, and R&B? Because the indication from Burna Boy, from On Top of the World, is what it is. Was it successful? I don't know.
Mm.
Was
I
it
think
successful?
it got nominated for a Grammy. Is that success?
Well, that's a different story because of what we've been talking about, right? It's a different story indeed.
Mm.
Well, when I was coming to the studio, I picked up an article, and the article was about it says the unstoppable rise of African music. And it
Mhm.
goes on to say that the growth of African music in recent years has been nothing short of astonishing, aided by advancements to technology, and social media artists from the continent are increasingly finding their way into the global spotlight, reshaping the musical landscape with their vibrant rhythms and unique cultural influences. The article critically examines the factors driving this expansion and the implications for the international music scene. And the first thing that they talk about is about social media as being catalyst for Africa music um, on the rise. Would you agree with that? Social media being a catalyst? Because back then, I think maybe, let's go maybe say 20 years ago, where there was no social media, there was no African music. There was Juju music with Sonny Ade and Fela and Ebenezer Obi, all from Nigeria, and Osibisa from Ghana, and all these. But they were, even though they were popular, I don't think social media at the time would have made any difference. But now, if you no, let me take it out of it. Social media would have made them more popular than they are if they are performing or if they are dead and gone. What's your take on it? Do you think that social media has brought into the forefront African music? Because a lot of people didn't know much about African music, more so Afrobeat music. Petra.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Ron would be the most perfect example, but I like look at Ron's face.
Roddy.
He's like,
Yeah.
what? I'm the perfect example of what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Ron would be the perfect example of how social media has definitely impacted Afrobeats, especially in relation to forming connections and collaborations, aka Early Morning, CJ Johnny, OT, Facile, all of those. I'm sure you can speak
Yeah.
on more. But yeah, I definitely believe social media has had a huge impact, not just on Afrobeat, but on the entire world, the entire music industry. But specifically for Afrobeat, yeah, I really feel like it's definitely given more awareness of the sound, and also from that sound becoming popularized, open the door for other sounds to come through. Like I'm a piano, and other forms of music that originates from Africa. So I really think we're in the midst of a wonderful musical revolution. And social media has definitely allowed artists that that maybe don't have the money to pay for marketing, the exposure. It's giving people the opportunity to collaborate with producers and industry professionals worldwide. So social media has had a huge impact, I feel, on Afrobeats music.
Yeah, Ron.
Yeah, I can tell you, Petra, one of the things that comes right to mind right off the bat when you say social media and how you introduced it, TYB, is I think about all the places that you can have your music played now today. I consider that to be all part of social media, though we usually associate that with TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all the likes. However, and Snapchat and all that. However, I also consider Spotify to be part of this. Same thing with Apple, all of the likes like that, because look at how often we are using those platforms to listen to music. Whether it's on any of the places I've mentioned, it doesn't matter. I think Spotify, I would not probably have heard the song Water had it not been sent to me to say, hey, listen to this song on Spotify.
See?
And I wouldn't have heard that. So I think for artists, any artist, regardless of what country you are from, though I know from my experience working with a number of Nigerians, they really liked social media. I would say much more in some respects than we do here in North America. Maybe that's their contact to the rest of the world. I don't know. However, what I can say is that it's really evident that all of the things that would probably not have happened before, like for me, as an example, I can't speak for YouTube, but I'd be sitting in my studio recording songs and wouldn't even know where to begin to send them out to. But today, social media allows that and has us doing that. This is one of the goods of social media. Of course, we can slam social media all over, but I like to think of the positives rather than the negatives. I'm working with artists that I would never even thought. I mean, well, we're doing something right now that I would never have thought happening on social media. So I think it's opened doors for many artists. And I think that's good. And who I think doesn't like this is the major labels.
You're right, because I quite remember when we had our conversation with Ras Morgan. He told us about PETRAA, 24 hours, social media, 24 hours,
Yeah.
boom, you did it. And we spoke with Perfect Gidimani. Perfect also said when he got his music, he was able to track down Kati Matete all the way from Jamaica to Kenya.
Social media.
And within 24 hours, the music was ready. 24 hours, just like PETRAA, just like Kati. I think social media has sort of contributed tremendously, because at long last, we are seeing the fruits of it. But then it comes also to the point where I also say that, it's got its positive side and the negative side, but the positives, outweighs the negative, I should say. Back then, a lot of people didn't know much about, say, Osibisa or Manu Dibango. They heard it, Mamako, Mamako, that was it. If it doesn't come and play in your city or your neck of the woods, you never get to hear about him. But today, social media, YouTube, StreamYard, LinkedIn, Facebook, what have you, Snapchat, everything has made it possible to such an extent that the world has become so small for us as artists. So I think the article addresses this very well, and I'm in agreement with that. Any comments or any other topic that you can bring into the fray? The floor is yours. One of you can take it.
Yeah, I do actually have a topic. I would love to get your opinion. It's funny, I literally just seen it actually. I saw a topic from the Junos saying reaching further Afrobeat influence in Canada and around the world. So to me, that was quite interesting, that the Junos are highlighting Afrobeat music. I think that definitely is a great thing. But my thing is, it's like, how is that trickling down to the mainstream of Canadian music? What do you think about that article?
I don't know the article per se. I have a little joke about the Junos, but yeah, I played with a guitar player, just phenomenal. But he was a comedy act, and he said, I was watching the Junos the other night, and he said, I was sitting with my 3-year-old daughter, and she kept saying, Dad, do you know who that is? Do you know who that is? Do you know who that is?
That's so cute.
I got you now.
And she just couldn't speak perfect English. But Dad said, I didn't have a clue who any of the artists were. However, in saying that, that's my little sense of humor, I guess. However, I would say that what I would see coming out of Canadian artists, if you're talking about Afrobeat in particular, I would say my experience, this is going to sound weird. My experience with Afrobeat artists in Canada is wishy-washy. I would say it's the best term I can use because I've contacted several of them, many of them, and they say, "Oh, I love what you're doing. Yeah, let's get together." And it's here they come and here they go. But I tell you, I've talked to so many others from, say, say Nigeria, where they're just like Fasil, one of the guys I work with. We're not doing Afrobeat per se. Who cares? But he sends me songs within 24 hours. And that's how fast he will put them together. So I'm seeing this love of music that I'm not detecting as much in Canada. I mean, I had CJ Johnny contact me yesterday, the day before, saying, "Oh, Ron, can you send me songs?" And I've contacted several, I'll say Afrobeat artists here in Canada, and it's, "Yeah, I love what you do. Oh yeah, let's get together." Nothing happens. Yeah, it's all talk. That is just a broad statement. And I know somebody's going to contact us and say, "Oh, no, that's not it." But that's my experience. So
you have to speak your truth.
Well, it's just how I've experienced it. I have one artist who says, "Oh, I just want to work with you so bad." And then I haven't heard from her in a week and a half, 2 weeks. And to me, I know Fasil, for instance, he contacts me with almost, I bet you, within 3 minutes of me sending a message. If he's awake, he's sent something back to me, a message. So that's what I love about him. CJ Johnny's the same way. Response, really quick. Canada is like, no. From my experience, now that's not everybody's.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I agree with what Ron is saying. The fact of the matter is that the Afrobeat music scene hasn't established itself in Canada from where I sit. It's my opinion and observation. It hasn't. You've got spurs, one here, one there, one here, one there, and they come out and say, "Oh, we play Afrobeat music on social media." But then there is not what I would say a community, if I can put it that way, a community of artists who will say, "Oh, you know what? That person, I can identify 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 Afrobeat musicians, and even their music, I can listen to them." You can hardly hear them. Because now if I listen to, we do play a couple of them, Tony and Temi, and HOD, we do that. But they are the ones who have come forward. There are others there, you hardly hear about them. And they are not even getting there into the mainstream, so-called mainstream media out there. They are not getting there. But before you win a Juno, Petra, you know that, I know that, there's got to be a lot of airplay.
For sure.
But then if we don't see them, we don't hear their music, where are we right now? I think they have to organize themselves and, instead of us going outside of Canada to get collaborators or to get artists to appear, even on this esteemed radio program, sometimes it's very hard. I have personally, apart from the fact that we do stuff, personally approached one artist who has potential. And this person hasn't gotten back to me. And I'm not going to call that person again because I've given the person a couple of chances.
Yes.
Because it gets to a point where they think, "Oh, I've made it because, I've gotten 2-3 gigs here. I'm in social media, so everything is hunky-dory." No. We fought in the trenches to get where we are, even to get airplay. To get performance.
Exactly.
When we started, honestly speaking, when I formed a group, Nakupenda, back in the day, we didn't have a place to play. But I never gave up. I said, no. I was playing rock and roll bars. I was a venue that was given to me. I took hold of it and then boom. We just came out of nowhere and we became a talk of the nation, Nakupenda, right? So this is just to say that if they're doing what they want to do for the Junos, because I don't think the Juno committee will just come out and say, okay, we are doing this and that. Maybe they've seen some semblance of activities in there, but then they have to think over it before they get the community gets so established. But the potential is there. I've listened to a couple of them, but then, like Ron is saying, nada. It's nothing. We have something, but we have nothing.
I was gonna say, sorry, I don't mean to cut you around. I just wanted to say,
No.
I feel like one of the biggest issues is, and the industry, they destroyed the progress. And I know, and I feel I can identify when it happened. It was like the late 90s, early 2000s, when record labels they took out the development aspect. You know, I think it's the artist development aspect of the industry, and saying that they only really want to sign ready-made products. Now, okay, who's getting these artists ready-made? You know what I mean? We have so many artists who are not ready for the market in the market. You know what I mean? It's crazy. I feel like, maybe in prior times there was less artists out there, but the quality and the caliber of those artists allowed them to last for generations. You know
Correct.
what I mean? I mean, growing up, I'm happy I got to experience a Michael Jackson, you know, or we saw how, you know, a Madonna like reigned for so long, like regardless of their lifestyles, right? We're talking about their careers. Like we got to see artists' careers span over decades. Now, oh my gosh, if they last a year or two, if they last a few months, you know what I'm saying? So I feel it's because the development and the care of wanting to develop those artists is missing, you know. And I feel like we have to beg the question. I mean, I feel like the US is different because they're a lot more established, but then who's responsible, or who is taking on the responsibility of developing Canadian artists on a whole? You know, I mean, yeah, I definitely want to keep an Afrobeats also, but I'm talking on a whole. I see that's the problem is artist development. There needs to be some level of organization, or an organization needs to take on responsibility of saying, you know what, we need to get these artists ready for market. It's like, unless you're in a certain like group, or you know somebody who knows somebody, or you have the money to get yourself artists ready, a large majority of Canadian artists are lacking that. It's just trial and error. And that's the problem. Our whole industry is trial and error. And it's gone on for too long. We need to organize. You know what I mean? Because it's 2024 now. Like our music industry compared to the rest of the world, honestly, all you can do is shake your head. You know?
Yeah, Petra, you know, it's interesting. Why is it so easy? Why is it, I found it personally so interesting, it's so easy to find somebody who wants to do Afrobeat. I had a fellow even today said, yeah, I want to work with you in Nigeria again. But I have not, you know, to me, it's strange that Canadians are all over the place. Now, there is something about Canada, I will say, that we are, as a nation, and probably the United States too, is not as accepting yet of this genre. I'll tell you why, because I would say number one is that lots of times they're hearing the songs and they're going, I don't know what they're singing. I don't know what this is about. So I've mentioned this before. And I think that's one of the things. I think you could have great Afrobeat music, even though if somebody was to sing in a language, whether it's English or French or whatever language you pick. But what I'm hearing too often from Afrobeat artists is multiple languages. I've mentioned this before, multiple languages being sung in amongst the song. And if people don't understand your song, folks, they're just, I like my wife said, can you just turn that off? Because she couldn't understand any of it. And I thought, okay, this is good. And then I asked an artist about this. What do you think's going on? He says, well, the beat's really good. I said, I don't care about the beat right now. That's a different story. What about the story that you're telling? You have to be able to do this. And whether it's French, English, or whatever, I don't care. The language doesn't matter, but pick one and stay with it. I've probably reiterated on this too many times, and as I did even last week. But folks, if you want to be heard in Canada, you're going to have to get a language of some sort that people are going to understand so they can hear your story. What did Tyla do? She sung impeccably in English, and I'm not saying that's the language you should stick with, but I'm just saying, listen to that as an example. That's why, you know, less than 3 months away from the Grammys being decided on, the nominees, she was in there, and she won it. So
that's another topic.
That's another topic.
I think we had this topic already, eh? We discussed this topic before.
But I just think that Canadians need to realize this. If they're going to make it in the market, you're going to have to not necessarily even start with your own country, but at least try and hit the world market. Because if you don't try to do that, it's going to be a real tough go. And I had one woman tell me, she said, "I'm so delighted that you said you want to see it. So I hear the songs in one language like English." She goes, "Everybody tells me with Afrobeat, I should be doing it differently. I should be singing multiple languages." She goes, "You're the first person to say this to me." I went, "Oh, really? Come on. I mean, look at who your audience is going to be."
That's the thing. That's the thing. Who is the audience?
But you see, I think they I hear what you say. I think this historical aspect of it is goes to say a couple of artists who have come before us. Julio Iglesias, he used to sing right, English, and then he just switch it into Spanish. Right. That was back in the day, right? But then with him, he was there, and he was singing actually to his English audiences and his Spanish audience. I mean, listeners or fans as well. And yes, that's exactly, I think, what he tried to do. I think he might be the only one that I know. There may be others, but I hear what you're saying, Ron. You got to be able to say, okay, this is, if you're going to sing in German, sing in German. If you're going to sing in whatever, do it that way. Nobody will say anything. Right?
Like Celine Dion, she had to choose. She started singing French, and then she would sing English. You never heard, I don't know, to my knowledge, I've never heard a Celine Dion song with English and French in it. And she couldn't.
Me neither.
You know what I mean?
I agree, totally. That's a really good example of either it was she would sing totally in French or totally in English, but there wasn't an intermingling between the two. Exactly. And I think this is a mistake that some artists make, thinking that people will like that. Go ahead, Petra.
No, go ahead, Ron. Go ahead, finish.
But I think that's just a problem, and that's why I heard one Canadian Afrobeat singer singing, and everything was in a language I didn't even know what language it was. Doesn't matter. But as soon as I heard him, sure, I thought, okay, the song still has potential, but I don't have a clue what he's singing, so I'll just turn this off. And I mentioned it to him. We got into conversation. He said, "Well, this is what the African people like." And I said, "Well, okay, that's fine if you're trying to hit that market, but then don't try and play in a country like this, or don't try and perform in a country like this, because not many people are going to come out." And some people say, "No, that's not true. Burna Boy does that." Yeah, he was able to book places. But Burna Boy is not booking places all over the world. He's not like a Taylor Swift, and that's not a fair comparison either. But he's not able to go from one state, one town, say go from Edmonton to Calgary, to go to Vancouver, go down to Washington State and Oregon, like say Taylor Swift could. I mean, she's playing 6 nights in your town alone. So that's what happens when you sing in one language, folks. And I could say this, I know people will probably write in and say, "Well, I can do whatever I want, so, take a hike." But I just say you're better off if you try to meet more of a specific audience than
Ron, there's the aspect of say with the Nigerian artists, the Afrobeats artists from Nigeria. Speaking pidgin English. And patois is a broken form of English. So I think they are comfortable doing it in the pidgin English way, but very comfortable doing it, because pidgin is spoken in Nigeria, and Sierra Leone, in Ghana is not. But if you want the real pidgin, the Nigerian way, it's Nigeria. So most of them sing it in pidgin English. So, and I understand where you're coming from, because the thing is that, like last week you said, would you prefer to sing or sell your album to say 300 million people or 1 billion people?
Yeah, pretty easy question.
That's right. That was the question. So it brings back my mind to what you said, and you're right, because you have to expand, and then the expansion will be how you deliver outside of your environment, outside of where you are operating from. So on that particular thing, yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you, folks. We are in conversation. We are having a very great conversation, the trends within the music industry, and then we have touched on Burna Boy and so many different things that if you are joining us for the first time, let this radio station or let this program be a program that you'll be looking at for every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's 10 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy. It was sunny about a couple of minutes ago, but now God is saying, hey, you guys get back in there because it's a little bit chilly. Yes. Now, what I'm bringing onto the table is about Facile.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, folks. Ron, my cousin here, has written in collaboration with Facile a very nice track called Claustrophobic. Man, that music is hitting the high notes all around the globe. And this is not the first time that Ron has done it. He did it with OT and C. Johnny. And man, oh man, oh man, oh man. We are sitting here with another Mr. Foster from Canada, another singer, songwriter, a great one. How is it doing? How is Claustrophobic doing?
Well, I can tell you, first of all, that there's more coming. I just did the final production of another song that'll be coming out shortly. I just want to touch on this briefly, just to say that that's not the only song that'll be coming out, because we have a whole album's worth of songs.
You mean you and Facile?
Yeah, yes, Facile and I do. And he's even working on the second album. So I would say that right now it's getting airplay, did really well on Afro charts, because, and that what's surprising me about that is that it's not even an Afrobeat song. So we had it listed under Afro pop. So we put it under that. So, okay, sure, why not? I know it's getting airplay on a radio station today. They're talking about us. They're doing that. So, you know what? I have no complaints. What I would say more than anything that gives me the gratitude is that Facile is so committed. That's what I like about him. He's sort of, I'll say, he's trying to go through this tiny little tunnel that says that, you know, if you're from Nigeria, really, this isn't the kind of music you should be doing. And because you should be doing Afrobeat. That's what you should be doing. He's been told this many times. Why isn't this an Afrobeat song? And he's just sort of going, you know what? I want to do something different. And that's what I like. He and I are trying something different for him in that country. And you know what? I would say that we're just doing stuff that people hopefully are going to like. And the thing that I really enjoy about Facile is that he and I have come to a really good agreement that the songs aren't going to be anything like Claustrophobic, for instance, isn't going to have anything rude to it. There's not going to be swearing in it, but the words are going to say something. So that's one of the things I like about Facile. He's always done that. The song he sent me yesterday, same thing. There wasn't anything in it that was rude. It's just getting the point across. And this one of his song yesterday wasn't about love or anything like that. It was totally different. He called it Mafia. And it was just an interesting name for the song. He said he wanted to do something different. So that's what I would say. I can't speak about him highly enough because he's got a good voice. I got all his stuff produced in his vocals and his harmonies and everything together for the next song that I don't know when we're going to release it. So yet. And that's the question that many of us who are independent artists would wonder. Do we put out a whole album? Do we put out singles at one at a time, month by month? What do we do? That is the question he and I don't fight about, but have many discussions about. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. I mean, congratulations to you, because the sound is good, great, and until you go and watch the video or you see the guy, you will never know that he's an artist from Nigeria, because nobody would expect a Nigerian artist. Oh, he's a Nigerian. Oh, everybody tags you to be an Afrobeats musician or a juju music musician. But then it's not like that. Fasil, there's something about the music, the melody, instrumentation, guitar work, and everything. It's so perfect. And I think it's going to go places. It is going to go places. Petra, have you heard it?
Yes, honestly. I love Fasil's sound. It's very different. I was saying that to Ron as well. I was trying to describe his sound. Yeah, for me, it was kind of like his sound. He reminds me of a Nigerian Ed Sheeran. You know what I mean? That's how I like kind of describe him, you know. And I think his sound is very unique, and I think it's really going to work in the market. And I'm really happy that he's defying the quote unquote, you know, status quo, and because that's how trends are created. Like I think he's definitely establishing himself as a trendsetter, and I really feel like he could be the next whiz kid, you know, and be a pioneer of that sound.
Yeah,
you know. So I'm really excited to see where it's gonna go, and I'm really excited to know that Ron is at the helm of it. Ron Mollinga, let's go.
Yeah,
don't forget about us.
Trust me, I won't. No, absolutely not. You know what? The thing is, what I also, somebody complimented us who were on some producer's website, and they said they heard the song and they said it sounds like a Steely Dan guitar solo in it, because there's a guitar solo in it. And I took that as, okay, thank you very much. That was very nice of you.
Thank you
He
for
said,
that.
yeah, because he said at first he listened to it, he says, I like the guitar in it. But then I heard the solo and he said that was on fire. So it's just something we're doing differently, I'd say, because what I'm not hearing, I don't hear in a lot of people's music all the time, and it's, you know, your choice, whatever, how you prefer to write, is that we do a lot of guitar stuff. Yesterday, he sent me a song yesterday. He goes, sorry to say, but there's one more thing I'd like you to put into the song. He says, I like a guitar solo in this. I went, okay. I said, well, let's see if we pick it on our top 10. This is for the next album. Because he said, well, I said, if you decide that's going to be in the top 10, then we'll put a guitar solo in. So,
all in the name of our collaboration, and it is doing great. So I think social media has contributed tremendously to this kind of connection, and I think Petra has a lot to do too, because Petra has about 3 or 4 artists who have been here, and then they are waiting to collab with Resign, and the others are,
Exactly.
they are waiting for it. Now let's tackle the challenges in terms. Most of the time when we do this program, we talk about African music, but then Bob Marley's movie has come out, and I think it's enjoying a great success. Do you, any one of you, have any sort of, have you seen the movie, or if you haven't, do you see? Because right now, what I'm trying to say is that reggae music has gone down just a little bit, but it's not out. I know it's not. We are moving from a phase.
We're down, but we're not out for the count.
Out. Thank you.
Yeah. Being a Canadian reggae artist, I have to say we're down, but we ain't out for the count, you know. And I'm happy that the movie came out to be like, hey,
we are here.
We're still here. Okay,
we are here.
We're still here. We have Bob Marley. He's still a mascot, not necessarily a mascot, no disrespect, but Bob Marley, he's never going anywhere. So we're here. Don't forget us.
Yeah, Petra, you said something that is very interesting. Why do you think the Canadian reggae music industry is down?
Yeah, good question to ask her.
Well, I've been asking myself the same question.
I have a theory.
Oh, go ahead, Ron.
No, you go ahead.
That's
you
right.
are the person.
Should we-
I was gonna say, Petra,
Hard
because
one, yeah.
no, it's just because you haven't put anything out recently. That's why.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I know. I will be putting something out, but the only thing is for me is because career-wise, I've taken a different direction with my career. So music is not gone; it's just down, but we're not out for the count,
Just like reggae.
Exactly. Yeah, I defined it. I feel like there's a multitude of reasons. I don't want to forget my point. I feel like a revolution needs to occur in reggae, one, and then also the artist development. So I don't want to touch on the artist development too much because we touched on that already, but I may swing back to that. But I feel like a revolution needs to occur in reggae music in order for it to be revived, right? Now I get kind of like disheartened because a revolution was happening with Chronics, Janai, Lila Ike, Protege, and so many more, that even other artists under them that they were mentoring and coaching, And I saw that happen a couple of years ago for a good couple of years. Coffee came out, everything.
Mhm.
Coffee was like the last one, And then so much controversy happened within that group that impacted the next generation of reggae music, or how it would have impacted the next generation of reggae music. Now, Coffee, I feel similarly to Burna Boy and Wizkid, has shied away from reggae music, and you have to understand from our industry and our genre, like Coffee, she was like the next one. She was like the next Chronics, the next Bob, like she was the next one. She was the first reggae artist that age to win a Grammy. You know what I mean? I think she was one of the youngest people to win a Grammy at that time. I think it was, But yeah, that was huge for reggae music. And then it, like, slowly you start to see her veer off. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So then it's kind of like there's so much disarray and confusion within reggae music that I feel like a lot of the artists don't know where to turn. I'm speaking specifically to reggae music, not dancehall. Dancehall knows what it's doing. It's the same two things. You know what I'm saying? It's like violence or like sex. Like that's dancehall music. Reggae music is more about spirituality. It's about connecting to a higher power, And when you're touching on a music like that people consider in a way a sacred genre, when you have controversy immersed in it, it impacts the music. Because reggae is not just music. Reggae is a culture, which has a strong connection to Rastafari culture, which is then connected to His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, just the lifestyle, So reggae is so much more than just the music, it's a culture attached to it. Now I feel like if you watch that movie with Bob Marley, you could see during that time period how much of an impact reggae had on the world. Like Bob was a superstar because he was bringing something so real, so pure. Like even to this day, you hear his music and it's like timeless, But Bob was so connected to the Almighty that I feel like that's why his music was so pure. I feel like because of the world in which we live in right now, it's very hard for some artists to connect in that way. And then the ones that do, they have to fight against the negativity of the industry. Especially think about this now. You have reggae fighting against dancehall. Dancehall is such a popular genre. And literally it's whoever has the youth, they win. Back in the 70s, in that era, in the 60s, 70s, reggae was new, fresh, like, so everybody gravitated towards it, and the youth gravitated towards it, which is why reggae got so big. Nowadays, the youth it's not reggae now, it's not a young people sound. A young people sound is more dancehall, Afrobeat, trap, hip-hop music. So a revolution needs to occur within reggae music to be able to capture the youth. Once it captures the youth again, I feel that's when the revolution will come.
Yeah. Petra, I have a whole another theory on this in terms of why. As a teacher, I will say, as a person who's taught music for over 30 years, one of the things that was happening in Bob Marley's time was that all of the people who were on stage were playing instruments. And so, I mean, Bob Marley played guitar, right? And so, and there's a feel to reggae that's needed. I know as a bass player, it just has a feel to it that if you try to put that in through a digital computer, it's just, to me, is not going to work. And because music has gone down in our curriculum in terms of importance. In fact, I just heard that the university I attended is they're shutting their whole music program down next year. And so, yeah, so I'm just not seeing as many actual, I'll say, real, I don't want to say real musicians, I don't like that term, but virtual people who play the instruments, because that's what reggae needs. It needs somebody that needs that drummer that you're not going to get from a computer. It needs the bass, which, you know, if you know anything about it, it's just, I played in a reggae band, and it's just so off the beat. It's so syncopated, like often the bass player doesn't play the very first beat. All one has to do is listen to I Shot the Sheriff by Bob Marley, you know, with his biggest hits. And when, and you know, he's so spiritual, that right? No, but when it's played, the bass player doesn't even hit one so many times. And that, to me, you have to be able to look at the music that way. And to me, that comes from real people playing on real instruments. And the music programs in so many countries around the world have just gone downhill. And to me, getting people to pick up a guitar, pick up some of the instruments that, you know, were so popular, that are so popular in so many genres, especially reggae, for instance, it's just not happening like it used to.
Yeah, I think Ron, you hit the nail right on the head. Yeah, you're right. It's different. Like with reggae, everybody's hand is in the pot. Because you can play the bass on on the keyboard to play the bass. It's not the same.
I agree.
It is not the same.
Exactly. Yes.
It's not the same. So, yeah. So, Petra, would I be right in saying that you said something about if you control the youth, they're going to go with you. So, in essence, right now, in the state that we find reggae in, do you think most of the reggae artists are also moving into dancehall because the other one is become stagnant?
No, I don't believe that. I believe it's more definitive now. I mean, I'm noticing a lot more new reggae artists. It's just because dancehall is already so popular, is taken over from the popularity that reggae had. You know what I mean? And I feel Coffee was that one that I feel like would have opened the door to really capture the youth, because her first song, like that, like honestly, like the Caribbean was alight, the world was alight with that song. You know what I mean? And then after that, it's just like she veered away from.
Folks, this is where the rubber meets the road, but we are going to continue in the green room. So continue to listen to us. Let's go ahead. And then go ahead, please.
For sure. Yeah, I'll just finish up my sentence. I was just saying that I feel Coffee was that one that was gonna literally open the floodgates, and I think draw in the youth. And I think the same in Canada too, because Kyron McLean, he's the youngest at the time, he was one of the youngest to be nominated for a Juno Award. To actually get a Juno Award. My apologies. To actually receive a Juno Award, one of the youngest, and he was also a reggae artist. So when I look at a Coffee and I look at a Karen McLean, to me, those were missed opportunities or opportunities to capture the youth. It's all about who the people around them, what they're going to do with them. But to me, those two individuals are opportunities for reggae music. It's all about what is going to be done with them. Now, to me, I feel like Coffee's, like she does reggae, but like she's veered off. So her fan base, I feel, isn't the same as it was. But we have a Kyron McLean. It just depends upon what they're going to do with him as an artist, and if they're going to use him as not really necessarily use him, but like have him to pretty much open the door to get the youth more aware of a reggae culture and reggae music. So at least we have the Bob Marley movie that came out. So they know, yeah, we're still here, reggae's still here, but let's see where it goes from there.
I think so. The Reggae Soundfest should also complement this, and they should continue to bring a lot more reggae festivals, and you know, like you were talking about, you know, artist development and stuff like that. We should start them from, you know, Hingy can play bass or keyboards or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we have to start them young, because reggae music, like we had, was it Perfect Gidman, or he said, reggae musicians are not rich. They are not rich.
Yeah.
They come out there to sing for the ruling class to get angry with them. So if they are angry with them, they don't care, because they are talking,
it's a calling. Reggae music is a calling.
Humanity.
You don't do music for money, man. If you're doing music for money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons.
And a lot of people are, you know, but especially
unfortunately,
specifically, it's a calling. It's like, honestly, because that's what I'm saying. Especially reggae, it's like people don't understand that. It's like, we know that we may or may not become multimillionaires, you know, but we do it for the love, because the Holy Spirit, like the Almighty says, sing my message and spread it to the world, you know. So yeah, we gotta do that.
Any final thoughts, Ron?
I would say that I'm interested in knowing, Petra, I guess this will be on your mind now, and that is, how do you think you're going to, what are you going to do to bring reggae back up? I'm not putting all the pressure on you. Don't get me wrong on this. I'm just saying, what do you think you will have to do if you do your next album all based on reggae? What do you think you have to do to get people going? Yeah, let's listen to some of this. No pressure.
Oh, don't worry, Ron. TYB space. Let's just say, Ron, I'm working on some things, okay, Ron? I'm working on some things, sir. So I will tell the people, just keep your eyes and your ears open. But trust me, we're working on something for my music, but specifically for the youth. You know, the messages of love, unity, strength, empowerment, living a good, healthy lifestyle. All of that is expressed and it embedded within reggae music. So I think those are definitely principles and things that could be shared to the youth that can empower them. So already that's showing that we can definitely connect with them. It's just building the infrastructure. Like development is the key to everything right now. Canada, although we're up there with the US and England or whatever, we're still not fully developed. There's still so much to be done. And there's a disconnect between the people that need the development and the people that have the funds to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Or even getting to the destination. There needs to be something in the middle. There needs to be some organization, some group of people that can work with these artists and bring them through so they can really be ready for their destination. So that's something that I am working on. And then when it's time, I'll definitely share with everybody.
To add to what you said, back in the back to the 90s and the 80s, 90s, and even the early 2000s, Toronto was the reggae capital in Canada. We had the satellites, we had all these messenger and all these big groups, and you know, and all of a sudden you don't even hear that any longer. There were so many festivals, and there were so many, but it seems reggae has gone down. But we are not going to allow reggae to go down. That route, it's got to come back up. But with Bob Marley's music, I think that revolution is going to rekindle the spirits within people, within artists, and within managers. To just like what Ron said, if you're thinking of making money in the music business, unless you make a hit and then hit a miss and then you just go home and enjoy the music, you'll be in the wrong industry, because there's a lot of pitfalls in there. But hey, at the end of the day, music will survive and survive and survive. Even in Africa, it is when you give birth, death, whatever, music is what is around us. So we have to cherish every genre of music. I love music. Every genre of music, we have to, because at the end of the day, it makes us smile. It comforts us when we are sad. It comforts us when we are depressed. It gives us everything that we need to function. It's not about money. It's not about material wealth. It's about what to keep your spirit and your hopes alive, and that is music.
Absolutely.
Folks, on behalf of myself, Petra, and Ron, we'll see you again in 7 days, unless Petra or no, Ron. Before we go, how can people get hold of claustrophobic?
Oh, well, we're on every music platform, Spotify. You can look up my name. You can look up Facyl, Facyl. It's really simple, Facyl. We're all music platforms. We're both on Instagram. We have lots of posts of it on Instagram, Facebook, all of them, TikTok. We're all over those. So anywhere in there. Mine is just Ron Mollinga at, at Instagram and Facyl is the same thing. It's at Facyl. So for on Instagram. So and we're easy to find, and the song is out there. It's getting played. So yeah, by all means, yeah.
Awesome.
I must say I'm personally getting tired of it because I've heard it so many times.
You're getting claustrophobic from the song, aren't you, Ron?
Yeah, that's why our next one is called "World's Best Friend," and it's a great song too. Yeah, it's really good.
It's gonna be the world's best friend. But I know why you slipped up earlier and said my name, because they have to know that I'm your manager. So if you want to book Ron Mollinga, still contact Petra at.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Exactly.
Folks, it's been fun as always when we come in here. It's been fun. It's been fun. It's been fun. Over the next couple of weeks and months, we'll be bringing artists, managers, and what have you, because that's what we live for as artists. We want to share this platform with you, whether you are a big star, a medium, a midget, what have you. We are here to help you promote your music. We don't charge you, no. But if the music is clean, yes, you find yourself on this platform. Until next week, when we come back again, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.
Bye, lovely family.